we're witnessing currently is the collective shadow. The shadow within all of us that hasn't been brought loving awareness, and how that is playing out externally in our reality, because it's the law of the universe. It's everything within is everything without. So whatever's going on internally in here will be our reality out here. So every single one of us that consciously chooses to bring loving awareness and presence to our shadows, we heal another fragment of this planet, of this collective shadow. And so do not underestimate. Your small self is a very larger scale of this planet's healing. So every single one of us that heals matters and creates a ripple effect in this world. But what I'm currently being enlightened to is the amount of shadow that is still within spiritual healing spaces and being called transformation philosophy, hidden behind spiritual language and calling it transformation is a bypass and is an injustice to the work. So I understand now why I've been put in these spaces, because one of my gifts is to bring light to these shadows. And a lot of people are gonna, not like me for this, but ultimately I don't give a shit, because this is my work. This is my heart's calling. This is my soul work. And if nobody talks about it, we continue to perpetuate this cycle. So it's with love and deep integrity that I bring these shadows to light, because it's not actually the person that's doing it, it's the shadow, right? And we have to take responsibility for that. We all have a part to play. We all have a role to play in the healing of this planet. Whether you want to believe that or not, you have a role to play here. We need you, right? We need you. And so I'm understanding now that there's just a lot of healing has been bypassed, and people are charging hundreds of thousands of pounds to work with them, attracting deeply traumatized people, may I add, and using shame and humiliation and calling it a means of transformation, when what this is a projection of their own shame and humiliation wounds that they haven't taken the courage and the bravery and the accountability to sit with and be with. And so to release and free up some of their own suffering, they project that onto the student, to the client, whatever you want to call it, to the human being, the wounded inner child, may I add, and call it a philosophy, call it a method. And divinity says no, my love. This is not okay. This is not healing. This is not transformation. This is not philosophy. This is not Buddhist teaching. This is unintegrated shadow. This is unhealed inner child wounds. This is traumatized inner child, okay? And so, before I lose myself in my own wrath and fire and anger with this, I have a breath, I take a breath and come back to my center and know and understand and acknowledge that these people also, of course, are wounded inner children themselves. And so I speak to them with loving compassion and I say, more inner child integration, dear one. We must integrate the inner child. We must bring loving presence and awareness to all aspects of our wounded inner children. Otherwise we continue to perpetuate this destructive, disastrous cycle of inner children, wounded inner children running this world. And these people who, have a high status, success, have a name for themselves, a large following, will look at me and go, oh, well, you haven't, done enough healing, you haven't done this, la-di-da-di-da. But I'm a mother, and so I was forced into healing, and motherhood is the greatest initiation I think one could ever possibly have. And I've met my inner child through my own children and been initiated in this work over and over and over and over again. And I know this work is so desperately heartbreaking to do, but it's also the most heart expansive work we will ever do. And that is why it's so important, because we are all being called back to our hearts, to actually lead from a place of integrity, love, compassion, truth, and honesty.